Now, a few years ago, my wife and I lost $80,000 in YouTube ad revenue. Direct YouTube ad revenue, not money generated outside of YouTube. We didn't lose a contract or anything. Actual YouTube ad revenue, completely gone. Now, how can you avoid making the exact same mistake? Because a lot of small-time YouTubers fall into this trap. So my name is Jay, and for the past 11 years, my wife and I have been creating YouTube channels. We started our first channel, our first serious channel, 11 years ago. That channel went on to become one of the fastest growing YouTube channels on the entire platform, which is an accomplishment we have framed just up there. And since then, we've grown multiple YouTube channels. That one YouTube channel grew to millions and millions of subscribers. And we essentially thought, well, we've been doing this for a few years. Let's see if we're able to repeat it. And we were. Now we run 12 active YouTube channels. We've run many more than 12 over the years. Some just haven't worked, some have. The ones that haven't worked have made us better YouTubers. But right now we run 12 active YouTube channels, and we run about 10 to 15 inactive YouTube channels, in the sense of we are not active on them. They are run by third-party companies. They're essentially language channels. So companies will take our videos, turn them into different languages, and upload the videos and run the channel. So we run over 20 YouTube channels, and those 20 YouTube channels generate anywhere between $30,000 and $70,000 per month just in YouTube ad revenue. So the things I'm telling you and the stories that I tell you about YouTube, they're real. You know, there's a lot of people on YouTube nowadays teaching people how to do YouTube, and it's fine, and there's some value that can be found in those videos and those people, but most of them just have never ran YouTube channels. The only channels they've run are the channels that they've created to teach people YouTube, because they realize that they can make a lot of money teaching people how to do stuff. We've done it in reverse. We've been literally doing YouTube for 11 years, and now we've started teaching it. So, you know, I'm not here to hate on other YouTubers, other YouTube gurus. I'm just here to say that the things I tell you are not just generated from AI. I'm not reading you articles that have been written by other people. They are our own stories, because we live and breathe YouTube on a daily basis, and we have the stats, the knowledge, the experience built up over all those years that we're now finally ready to start sharing with people to help small-time creators like we were become better creators. So how the hell did we lose $80,000 in YouTube ad revenue? So first things first, this is the analytics, from one of our biggest YouTube channels. And as you can see, there is a very, very big gap in revenue data. So between 2015 and 2018, we signed up with something called an MCN, which stands for multi-channel network. And essentially the way these networks work, I don't know if you're familiar with these, but the way that they work is they usually message you when you're kind of getting established. And nowadays they will message you when you're very, very early, which is actually kind of a good sign, because it means that your channel potentially has, you know, they can see that your channel has potential, which is a good thing, because they know what they're looking for. And they will reach out to you. They reached out to us in 2015, so our channel had been running for a little while. And essentially, I'm just going to put up some data on here too, so I can read it off. And essentially what they do is they'll reach out to you and they'll say, we want you to be part of our network. You have access to all these other creators. We work with all these big A-list YouTubers. And you start to think, well, this sounds pretty good. You know, I've not long started YouTube, and I now have the opportunity to join a network of vastly better creators than I am. This sounds amazing. But there's always a catch, and the catch is that your revenue will go through them, and they might operate in a slightly different way. We haven't touched MCNs for a very long time after this. So they take a percentage of your revenue in exchange for being part of their network. Now, this can vary between 5%, 10%. I think the deal that we were on with this particular network was something like 10 to 15%. So all of the revenue that we get from YouTube no longer comes directly to us. It goes through the MCN. They take their cut and then they pay us. Now, they pay us a month later. Now, YouTube obviously pays a month later anyway, so immediately you're 2 months essentially behind on your revenue. So you have to go like a month and a half, almost 2 months without getting paid. That in of itself isn't necessarily a problem if you're getting access to other creators and you're getting help. And they kind of say that you can get help with copyright issues, you can get help with all these different things, we can help secure sponsors, all this kind of, wishy-washy stuff that they try and sign you up with. And none of it really actually helped the channel at all. We had a handful of calls with this particular MCN, and we have worked with other MCNs, with our other channels, and it's always been the same. Like I said, we no longer work with them for any of our channels. But the people that you speak to, generally, you know more about your own channel than they do, because you're in it every single day. And the experience that we had with them was just very, very poor. But the biggest thing was the fact that we lost $80,000. So essentially what happened was this particular MCN that we had worked with, up until this point, we were locked into a contract. I think the contract was maybe like 2 or 3 years. It may have even been longer because it's 2015 to 2018. So I think we were locked into maybe even a 5-year contract at that point. I don't know. I can't remember how long we were locked in for, but they do lock you in for, you know, a few years, at least they did back then. They're probably a bit more flexible now because creators are smarter and they know that they use kind of tools and tricks to lock you in, and then you just cannot get out. And that sucks if you're a small-time creator. It's hard enough to make it as it is, let alone having to pay out revenue to companies that aren't even really helping your channel grow, who have promised that they can. So yeah, this company, this particular MCN, and I'm not going to name them, it won't take you long if you're savvy on Google to find them, but they essentially were bankrupt. And there was a whole thing. I believe there was some illegal activities going on within their company, and they took the revenue from their creators from that month that they went bankrupt with them. Now, YouTube, Google were really, really good in the sense that there was like a 2-month period after they'd gone bankrupt where everyone was just like, well, what the hell's going on? Where is our money going? How do we get it back? YouTube then, I think for like the month or 2 after this company had gone bankrupt, they paid that back out, because that was like a massive worry. It was like, well, we've already lost the month and a half to 2 months that was going through them. We're never getting that back because they've gone bankrupt. That's where the 80,000 was. And our channel was huge at this point of time. This was probably almost at the height of our channel. I'm going to show you a particular video in a second that went completely ballistic. And it was during that time that we were signed up with the MCN. So we didn't get to enjoy the insane amounts of revenue that video would have brought in, and I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, so they went bankrupt, and the month and a half, sort of 2 months that our revenue had been going through them was gone, and that was around $80,000. The 2 months after that period where it was like, what's going on? YouTube were really good, and they paid that back out to all their creators, which was amazing because people didn't know if they were going to do that. And I don't even know if they paid that out of their own pocket, I'm not sure. But there was almost no communication with YouTube and Google, which is, I'll say that for another video, because they are notoriously bad for being able to, you getting in touch with them. They essentially shut off our biggest channel overnight. We logged on and the channel had been demonetized. And we were like, what is going on? At this point, we only ran the one channel, so the majority of our revenue was coming from that channel, and it was just turned off overnight. And we were like, what is going on? We had hundreds of thousands of fans reaching out to YouTube saying, this is a mistake. We don't know why you've just turned this channel's monetization off. And then they just turned it back on again. And we had a very kind of one-worded answer to say that it was a mistake. And that was it. But I'll talk about that another time. So yeah, that money was just gone into oblivion. The company went bankrupt. They took so much money from creators with them, and we never got it back. Now, this video in particular, one of our highest viewed videos, it has over 40 million views, and the revenue on this video is very low, because when this video went viral, as you can see, so the views didn't go through the MCN, so we can still see all of our view data, but we just cannot see the revenue data, which I'll show you why it actually makes things really annoying. Even now to this day, and we haven't been signed up with them for years, it's had an effect, because now when we look through our data, it's not accurate. But yeah, essentially this video went completely ballistic, which was at the time we were with the MCN. It had like 800, almost, I think it had 1 million views in one day. I can't get it at that point. You could see 1.8. It had like 1.8 million views in a day. So this video did go crazy, and that was back in a time when videos, there was loads of videos that went crazy like this, but it wasn't as easy to go viral back then as it is nowadays. So that revenue went through them, and they took out a massive portion of it. This video probably generated, I don't know, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 potentially, but all of that data and that revenue data is now missing, which is really annoying. And they have no way of getting that back. We could possibly try and reach out to them, or someone who worked for them, who we do have their contact details, but it's just a faff. Being a YouTuber and creating content it's not necessarily dead hard, but it's not easy, and it does take a lot of brain power. So the last thing you want to be doing is messing around with stuff like this. So yeah, like I said, if I go to actual revenue data, our lifetime revenue data is $1.3 million since we've started this channel, but it's way higher than that because all of the revenue from 2015 to 2018 has gone through the MCN, and they were some of our biggest years. So like I've said in previous videos, the revenue from this channel is probably closer to 2 million, if not over 2 million, just in YouTube ad revenue. And another thing that, you know, we didn't just lose $80,000, we lost 10% of that was just completely gone to this MCN, and they didn't do anything for our channel, nothing. I think maybe they secured us one sponsorship, and that was about it, and I don't even know if they did. You know, I just have a feeling they might have done, but it was nothing meaningful because I do not remember it. So we would never sign up with an MCN ever again, and we haven't since that company went bankrupt. So if you're a small-time creator saying that you can sign up with us and we will help you out with this, that, and the other, you'll be signed up to a network that has all of these creators that you may look up to and that you may watch. Be very, very wary. Ask lots of questions. Make sure that there is an exit clause that you're happy with, and negotiate with them. Ask them for a lower percentage of revenue they're going to take. Ask them for a flexible contract so that you can leave after a couple of months, you know, or not even that, not even as long as a couple of months. Have a rolling contract that every single month you're able to leave if you want to, if it's not working, because then they're going to be much more active in helping your channel grow. If they've locked you in for a year, they have no real desire to help your channel if they can just lock in creators over and over again. That's how they make their money, not by actually helping out creators. Certainly the ones that we've worked with, that's how they make their money. I'm sure there's some good MCNs out there. Unfortunately, we have never come across them. But like I said, if you do get emails from MCNs that are relatively big MCNs, it can be a really good sign that your YouTube channel is going somewhere, because they are very good at scouting out good potential YouTube channels. So I'm not saying don't join an MCN, A, because I don't want to get sued, B, because there might be some potential, especially in this day and age. I would imagine companies are better now than they were when we signed up with them back in the day. We were so annoyed by this company that we were even going to set up our own MCN with another big YouTuber who we were very friendly with, and we were going to have just such good flexibility. Like, we were going to really, really help them. It was going to be, the contract was almost going to be completely loose so they could leave whenever they wanted. And we were not going to take any percentage of their current revenue. We were only going to take a percentage of the revenue that we were able to generate for them. We thought that was just a fair way of doing it. Now, other things just took over and we just didn't have enough time to do it, and we probably never will. But there's a good way to run an MCN, and there are a lot of companies out there who may be doing that. Make sure that if they're reaching out to you, they are the ones who are going to actually help your channel and not going to lead you into a trap that we fell into, because you will regret it. And like I said, YouTube is relatively difficult. Don't make it harder on yourself by signing up for a company that does not have your best interest. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that you got some valuable lessons. And I've never really seen anyone talk about MCNs like this before. There's a few videos out there, but mainly because a lot of people who are in the industry of teaching people how to do YouTube have never worked with MCNs and never had the type of experiences that we've had. So I hope we're able to just provide some unique stories and experience that a lot of people don't have. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this, because believe me, we have a ton of them. We have people who've gone to prison, all related to YouTube, you know, team members of ours who've scammed us. We have the channel getting shut off. We have tons of stories. If you want to learn about those stories and you want to learn how you can better your YouTube channel, because all of the stories have lessons in them, don't forget to subscribe. And I'm not saying don't sign up for an MCN, just be very, very careful. Thanks for watching, keep creating, and I'll see you next time.